Hijack for the transfer of Calafiori. Reports from Italy are really showing us that a Hijack is obviously anticipated and plotted by one of the big teams in Italy that were interested in signing Riccardo Calafiori, and that's why obviously saying the title, Calafiori to Arsenal hijack plotted by a team in Italy that is going to hit obviously love Calafiori. And guess what? It's one of the moments that Arsenal fans will obviously not want to listen to, but it's real and it's happening if Arsenal don't get this deal done and dusted. Welcome to the Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where you are watching us from? I go by the names of Rokani David. Smash the like button close to 300 times and don't forget to subscribe so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Third video of the day, streaming live in here for you, and we are powered by Muno Gadgets 256. Muno Gadgets are dealers in new and UK used phones and laptops. So if at all you feel like you want to obviously find yourself in a situation, obviously getting yourself what we call a new phone, call +256 7099888665. If you are in the diaspora and you feel like you're having your parent and you want to obviously buy him a phone, call them, send them the money, they will deliver it, even if it's a laptop. If at all you're a parent in the diaspora and you feel like you want to buy your son a laptop at campus, all in high school, all in primary school, because nowadays in primary school kids do have what we call laptops and phones. So if at all you really want to buy one, this is really the most important side that will see you really get the best. Muno Gadgets is the place to be. Dial that number and the rest will be history. You'll come here and thank me later that for Rokani, you gave me the best deal in the month of July, and you're with them for some more time, and hope you guys are really gonna really support them because they are supporting this channel. You can as well support this channel by buying us super chats. Go down the live chat and obviously get us what we call a super chat into the mix. Now I've gone ahead to gather all the stories that have been really making rounds all over social media and different media outlets in the past 1-2 days, and I've gone ahead to obviously bring them in here and see to it that I really tell you what the deal of Calafiori is all about. Very many questions have been really directed to me in the due course of the week according the deal of Calafiori, and I was like, I'm gonna really bring all this, gather it up, and then I'll obviously come and cloud it in front of you, and you'll obviously thank me for this. Now let's start it off with a story coming in through from Dimasio. Dimasio is a global transfer expert coming in from Italy, and when he speaks from Italy, you obviously get to know that he's really talking sense. Dimasio told us that at this moment Arsenal's priority is to find an agreement with Bologna for Riccardo Calafiori. He's their top target and they are pushing a lot. The player wants Arsenal. He didn't listen to offers from Chelsea, PSG and Bayern Leverkusen. At this moment, there is no deal yet with Bologna because the price of Calafiori has changed a lot. Before the Euros, he had a price of 30 to 35 million euros. After his performances for Italy, Bologna are asking for 50 million euros and Arsenal feel that that's too much. Arsenal are willing to spend 1 to 2 million euros more, but not 10 million euros more. So the pace of the deal is on standby, but with the will to arrive at an agreement in the next few days. Bologna are trying to get more possible money, but they can't afford to keep the player, so the move is only a matter of time. So this guy known as Dimasio is explaining to us the synopsis that is going to obviously lead to all of this. You know, before Italy went to the Euros, Bologna was selling Riccardo Calafiori for only 30 to 35 million euros. After his performance at the Euros, they increased the price. But remember, when he was leaving Basel, the indication was we are getting 50% of the sale in here. So in the due course, they've gone ahead to find themselves in a position of really adding 15 million euros onto the 10 to 15 million euros, 15 million euros, you know, onto this guy, and it's 50 million euros, and Arsenal is like, we are not gonna pay it. And this has gone ahead to obviously put this deal into stalemate, and questions are, what is it gonna be like in the next coming days? Because worrying is really increasing. On Monday, Bologna I think they're flying to Spain, where they're going to be taking their pre-season, and they're going to have to communicate to Calafiori that we want you to the side of Bologna. We fly together to go where we are obviously going to be holding our pre-season from. Remember, he was knocked out around the round of 16. Italy was knocked out by Switzerland, and I think they played around what date? And I think this guy's going to hit rest for like 3 weeks. You get? He has going to hit rest for like 3 weeks, and they need him to report on duty to obviously do the needful for the club of Bologna. So it's a matter of time, as he's being saying, that is Di Marzio, but I don't believe that Calafiori is all okay with this, because personal terms are going to have to be agreed. He has given Arsenal the time they need to obviously clear this deal out of the way, but Arsenal is like joking, and the player might obviously find his mind driven to something else. Because if you know what hijacking is, these are kind of deals that are really hijacked, because they've given you first priority and you're failing to obviously utilize it. What happens after that? Obviously, they'll hijack it and the rest will be history, right? So, after Riccardo, Calafiori, after Di Marzio, Fabrizio Romano had something to say about this deal. He said there are no substantial changes to the situation yet. Arsenal and Bologna remain in contact, but there is no agreement over the 50 million fee. The issue is that Bologna want guaranteed money, while Arsenal's proposal includes add-on structure to get to 50 million euros potential fee. Then, despite what has been suggested elsewhere, there is no issue with Basel. They'll receive 50% of the deal. That is it. Bologna want 50 million euros fixed exactly, because they have to give over 20 million euros to Basel at this point. Now, Fabrizio Romano has come out and obviously rectified this, and he has gone ahead to give us more information and add more beef to this story. Remember, we've been getting reports that Basel is the reason as to why this deal is stalling, but Basel, their position is still the same. For Basel, they want only and only 50% of that money, and it's a 20 plus million euros that they anticipate. And it looks like it's Bologna playing the hard ball. They are telling Arsenal, if you're not getting us 50 million euros, forget it, and we want it at once. And Arsenal are really trying to find out a better payment plan to see to it that this doesn't obviously go out of their hands. So that's where the deal is, but it is really at this point because a side known as Bologna are really knowing that they're really having a hot cake. Riccardo Calafiori is a hot cake. Very many teams are really interested in his services, and I tell you, no one is really gonna stop him from obviously going to any team, because very many teams that he really refused, PSG, Chelsea and Bayern Leverkusen and Juventus, you understand, and the player is a hot cake. And I think this is what Bologna is really relying on, because they know that they're really having a very huge player that is wanted by very many teams, and they also believe that they can even keep him for one more season. That is it. That's why they're really playing hardball to get, and they know that if they keep him for one more season, his price will obviously increase. Why? Bologna is going to be playing in the Champions League, and if any team doesn't get this player now, when he goes ahead and plays in the Champions League and puts in a very huge performance, you might see his price multiply by 2. His contract with Bologna runs until 2027, meaning that he's left with 3 years on his contract, and that is really good to note that the side of Bologna is 100% safe. That's why they are not fidgeting, because they know that if Arsenal delays, a team will come in through and obviously offer the amount of money that they want. All right. Let's look at the worst case scenario. If at all no team comes in through to buy Riccardo Calafiori and stays at Bologna, they're going to be playing the Champions League. They're really a good side, and with Riccardo Calafiori's performances, his price will obviously go to 80 to 100 million euros. And if at all you are an Arsenal fan, this is the time you really want to see to it that everything really wants to get done and dusted. So we wait and see how that is going to pan out. But I tell you, it's not an easy deal as we speak right about now, because a lot is in making. Teams are really trying to do the needful. Arsenal are really trying to negotiate the structure of the deal. 50 million euros paid. 50 million euros is what Arsenal want to cash in for the player. Cash out for the player. But the structure of payment is a huge problem. I tell you, it's a huge problem because Bologna wants that amount of money at once. And if at all Arsenal wants to obviously not pay that money at once, they're supposed to add in more 5 million euros, something that Arsenal is saying they are not gonna do that. So the deal is really very disturbing, and I really don't want to do news about Riccardo Calafiori, and I was really waiting for here we go, because it's almost the same thing. It's almost the same thing. Not until I've gone ahead to hear something different coming in through from the side of Juventus that a hijack is being plotted, and I was like, I should obviously come in through and inform the viewers of Rokani Media Football about the deal known as Calafiori to Arsenal in there for you. Then Alfredo Pedula, he comes in through from the side of Portugal. He has told us that Bologna are asking for 50 million euros plus 3 million euros for Calafiori. Arsenal offer is 47 million euros plus 3 million euros. Basel don't want to reduce 50% sell-on clause even by a fraction. Bologna waiting for an improved offer in the next 2 to 3 days under the terms they want. Do not want to give Calafiori to Juventus, have you heard? But have okayed Rokani signing despite no talks between them and Juventus. Juventus want to Debo, but no agreement till now. So this story is really growing wings every other day that passes by. As we speak now, the side of Bologna is looking for replacement, and they want to sign the replacement from Juventus, and they don't want to sell this player to Juventus, but Juventus is like, we need the player, but they also need Todibo. And Juventus is really keeping a keen eye onto this deal to see to it that if at all it falls through, they can obviously come in through and really hijack it. So this is what Arsenal has to do. They have to obviously act immediately. They have to act immediately to see to it that this deal doesn't really fall through. I know most of Arsenal fans had gone ahead to count onto this when personal terms were agreed, and 2 weeks back we are told that this deal is going to come to pass. Until now, the deal has not gone ahead to come to pass. So I'm here to obviously see to it that a lot really goes into your face. This is what I want to tell you, because it's what I'm reading from different sources as you people coming through to obviously jazz with me about this deal of Riccardo Calafiori. And I want us to be here for 30 minutes, and then we'll prepare other stories of Emily Smith-Rowe and very many others whose bid and bidding war is really taking a new shape. Then The Athletic came out and said that Arsenal are now more than happy to ignore their one-in, one-out policy when it comes to signing players. Riccardo Calafiori, their strategy is generally to get rid of those players surplus to requirement and bring in higher caliber players. But in this instance, even without selling the likes of Kientieni, the club will press ahead with the 50. All right, I'm going to really close up with that. But this is where I came up to obviously get the title of the story. It is Giovanni Albanese. He works for TV dello Sporto, and he said, until there is the certainty that Calafiori will move to another club, Juventus will remain vigilant on him. The defender would like to continue working under Thiago Motta, just as the latter appreciates him. Until there is a glimmer, even minimal hope, it is right for the Bianconeri to keep him in their sights. So for Juventus, they are not bothered with Arsenal agreeing personal terms with Riccardo Calafiori. They are not. All what they are saying is, for us, we are really waiting. The moment Arsenal feels like they are pulling out of the deal, will obviously sweep in and get this deal of Riccardo Calafiori done and dusted. You get? So this is what has gonna hit obviously pile of pressure on the side of Arsenal. And if at all I'm an Arsenal fan, I would love a story like this, you know, to come in through from Juventus, because it will obviously speed up this transfer. I tell you, it will speed up the transfer of Riccardo Calafiori from Bologna to Arsenal. If Arsenal, Arsenal have been reluctant because they need to eat that. They are the only team in the race. Now, Juventus has confirmed that they are obviously looking for Riccardo Calafiori, and they will obviously step in and obviously sweep in to see to it that this really comes to pass, and that is Juventus for you. So the team that wants to hijack the deal of Riccardo Calafiori to Arsenal is none other than Juventus. And if at all you know who the manager of Juventus is, you have to believe in this story. Do you know the manager of Juventus? The manager of Juventus is none other than Thiago Motta. And who is Thiago Motta? Thiago Motta has been the manager of Bologna, and he has been managing Riccardo Calafiori. He's the manager that is going to turn Riccardo Calafiori into the player he is right about now. So when I speak like that, you obviously understand that this hijack is still possible. Amidst Riccardo Calafiori giving Arsenal green light, you get, it can turn out to obviously speak to Juventus, because I tell you, the manager of Juventus, that is Thiago Motta, is trying to convince this lad to obviously come in through and play for Juventus. You know, he's like, we are willing to dance to the tunes of Bologna. We have the money, and we can really come in through and sweep in and do exactly what Bologna want. And I think they're trying to put a second thought into this player, something that is not good for the club of Arsenal. But for me, I see it as a huge blessing in disguise for the side of Arsenal to see to it that they really hurry up, because the complacency that had been put in this deal was all about Arsenal knowing that they are singly into this race. One will say that that's how it was with Declan Rice. I tell you, for Declan Rice, Arsenal agreed a fee with the side of West Ham, and teams pulled out. Man City pulled out, and very many other teams pulled out, the likes of Bayern Munich, because they couldn't match the £105 million bid that Arsenal had gone ahead to put in. And here we go was sounded, and the rest was to know how Arsenal was really gonna come in through to pay that amount of money. You remember? But this time round, here we go has not gone ahead to be sounded. You get, meaning that Arsenal hasn't gone ahead to get what we call a total agreement with Bologna. So that means Bologna has all what it takes to talk to Juventus. You understand? They can talk to Juventus onto this player known as Riccardo Calafiori, and the rest will be history. But we all know to it that there is bad blood between Juventus and there is bad blood between Juventus and there is bad blood. Sorry about that. There is bad blood between Juventus and Bologna. Why? The way Thiago Motta left Bologna to go to Juventus was not appreciated by Bologna. That's why the president of Bologna doesn't want Riccardo Calafiori to go to Juventus, but they want to sell the player. You get? And this is where Arsenal really gets a little bit of an advantage that keeps them into the queue to obviously get this deal done and dusted of Riccardo Calafiori from Bologna to the London side. You get? But never say never the transfers. The longer Arsenal take without getting this deal done and dusted, the longer it will get hijacked, or the longer very many teams obviously coming through to sweep in. You know, as Juventus is back on the ladder to obviously get the deal of Calafiori done and dusted, you might see even PSG come in and say, all right, we feel like we want to sign Riccardo Calafiori. You understand? So it is really getting tricky, and Arsenal has to obviously do the needful. You know, next weekend, I think next week, Arsenal is flying to the US. After playing against, is it Burnley or Bournemouth on the 25th, they'll obviously bowl to go ahead and play in the US, meaning that they would love to go to the US with Riccardo Calafiori. And I think it will be the very first time in Mikel Arteta's era to fly to the US tour pre-season without a signing. You remember the other time when they fled there, they had Marquinhos, they had Gabriel Jesus, they had Fabio Vieira, and Zinchenko joined them in America because even Man City was that side. Last season, when they went to the US, they went with Julian Timber, Declan Rice, and Kai Havertz. They went with 3 players to the US. This time round, it's not the case. They haven't gone ahead to sign any player. And is it enough? Is it gonna excite Arsenal fans in the US to obviously get on well with the club without new signings? I doubt, because any club would like to obviously pump up its market and see their jerseys bought of the new players, if at all they travel with new players that side. But if you know business very well, there will be no business for Arsenal, because if you go with a new player like Riccardo Calafiori and he plays in the 3 games that Arsenal are really going to play, let me even read you these games, especially they're going to be playing in America. You get the 3 games that Arsenal are going to play in America are Manchester United, Liverpool. They are playing Manchester United and Liverpool, right? You get, so if a player like Riccardo Calafiori that you've just gone ahead goes ahead to obviously shine in the side of US, that means more of your what is it called? More of his shirts will obviously get bought. You understand? So that's the beauty of going in with those players. So we wait and see how that pans out. But smash the like button close to 200 times. And don't forget to subscribe, because we want to hit 22,000 subscribers. And guys, just get to know that you can as well buy super chats for this channel. Go into the right bottom corner of the super chat. There is a $sign. You can as well send in $1, $2, $3 to support this channel, or you can obviously become a member, right? So that's the story of Riccardo Calafiori, and the hijack looks like is on. The hijack is on, but Arsenal has to obviously act fast to get this over the line, because teams are coaching to sweep in and obviously hijack this deal. I'm having Wasike Jime. It's evening in my country, Mbale, Uganda. Good evening, bro. Good evening, my brother. Then I'm having Aruhos Koleb. What's wrong with Arsenal and the bosses? It's all about the payment structure, right? The payment structure is really causing problems, and we are coming to 3 weeks ever since we are told that the deal is really imminent. And now, when Juventus has gone ahead to say that it's 3 weeks now, they said, why not sweep in? Because there is no agreement between Bologna and Arsenal, and they're like, I can obviously get in and really sweep in and get everything done and dusted. Lazarus Omoding, good evening, bro. Good evening, my brother. How are you? Then David Sozi, Rokani, according to you, are you seeing is this deal will happen or not about your day-to-day? So I think this deal will happen. I think this deal will happen, and the coming in of Juventus to try to hijack this deal is gonna act as a wake-up call to the club of Arsenal. And I tell you what, this is what Arsenal needed. Arsenal needed this wake-up call for a team to come in through and really register interest in this player. The moment Arsenal wouldn't have gone ahead to get in a team to sweep in and obviously show interest, they would have gone ahead to obviously take forever to obviously sign the player. But right now, it helps Arsenal that if the deal gets done by this weekend, Arsenal will obviously switch on to get in other players. You get, like you see, Nico Williams, Arsenal looking at Gyökeres, Pedro Neto, and very many others. You understand? So I think this is a very good move for Juventus, and it's going to obviously put Arsenal on pressure to get this deal done and dusted. And I won't be shocked if at all in the next 2-3 days we really get a here we go into the mix. Now, Denzel is like, good job, Mr. RD, live from Liantonde, all right. Cash Ivan, good evening, my brother. News about Nico Williams. Nico Williams to Arsenal, it's Barcelona leading the race. We only anticipate that Arsenal is really going to be holding talks with the agent of Nico Williams. We don't know whether Arsenal will obviously be ready to really enter into the mind of the agent and Nico Williams. Obviously, the player comes in through to play for the side of Arsenal. So that is it. But I tell you what, it's not going to happen. You know, Barcelona are leading the rest. They are even willing to go ahead and really borrow money to sign Nico Williams. £43 million, for me, it's an absolute steal for a player as Nico Williams. Mosasi Godfrey, but how stupid is this team? Of course, really, how can we handle things in that way? Only a difference of €3 million is the problem, all right? That is it. And you are judging your team, but all I know is that this sweeping of Juventus and keeping them abreast about what is happening in between Arsenal and Riccardo Calafiori is helping Arsenal to obviously sweep in and really get everything done and dusted. Daniel Okuja, Komboni, Rokani, looks like there is something which isn't happening well with the Arsenal recruitment team this transfer summer, because if you see how Arsenal is meandering, it tells you something. Yeah. And Arsenal acting like they're really having a very beautiful squad, and you know that they really have a very good team, because Mikel Arteta, after the end of the season, he came out and said that they need to attack the summer transfer window and they need to get in players before they obviously get to the US. But it looks like they might fly to the US without no single player. That is the shocking bit of it. So we are here to wait and see how things really pan out. But it really raises eyebrows, you know. It raises the hair of the flesh, you know, when it reaches this time when Arsenal hasn't gone ahead to sign any player. We are coming to the 20th of July and Arsenal hasn't gone ahead to do any business. Yet we need to eat that in June. We had gone ahead to get a here we go of a player called Kai Havertz towards the end of June. Last year, we also got in what we call a deal of Declan Rice done and dusted. And as Arsenal, we are really negotiating the payment structure of the £105 million they bought Declan Rice from West Ham to Arsenal. Then we also got a bid of Arsenal submitted to sign Julian Timber. You understand? So that is where we are right now, and I'm really expecting lots of things to happen. But if there is a wake-up call that any Arsenal fan would need, I think this should be one, because Arsenal will really feel agitated if at all a team like Juventus comes in, through sweeps in and really signs this player. Then I'm having Abdul Rahman. Arsenal, if you know that the player worth the price, you better pay the money. And I think it's not a lot of money. I don't know why Arsenal like not trying to pay this amount of money, but €50 million for Riccardo Calafiori, I think it's not bad love. You know, I think the problem is that the other team wants a different payment structure, and Arsenal also presenting a different payment structure for that deal. Then Adrabo Emmanuel, thanks for the updates. Already I'm watching you live from the US. All right, thank you. You can as well buy a super chat, Mr. Adrabo Emmanuel. Click that $sign and really buy a super chat to support this channel. Thank you. Bayan Al-Basha, I only want Saka competitor. Brujo is Williams all sunny. We wait and see. Because Arsenal might be doing some underground work, because they've already gone ahead to show to us that they are good at doing such work. Remember how they did the deal of Fabio Vieira. No one came close to knowing that Arsenal are going to execute that deal. From nowhere, it was a here we go from David Austin and Fabrizio Romano that Arsenal have reached an agreement with FC Porto on a player known as Fabio Vieira. You understand? So that is it for the club of Arsenal. And you never say never. Anything can happen in the transfer window, unless otherwise the deal is done and dusted. Never come out and really say something cannot happen. Anything can happen. I tell you, anything can happen. You get? Arsenal can get in Nico Williams. They can get in Leroy Sen. They can get in Pedro Neto, because they're a huge club. They're having a very huge product that can attract very many superstars that are really playing different rounds the world. Then we obviously have to go to Zakaria. Arsenal transfer just boring. I know, because when you look at how Manchester United is really acting and attacking the transfer, that's how Arsenal used to attack the transfers in the previous seasons. But I don't know why Arsenal are not really doing the needful, you get? Live says Arsenal needs to sell before signing. That's not the case. Arsenal have money. They have the money with them. But I think they're trying to obviously push for their own benefit. You get? That is Arsenal for you. We are having Sesei Sulaiman. Arsenal are slow in the summer transfer window. Yeah, for the very first time ever since Arteta came in through, Arsenal have showed us that they are really moving on a snail pace. I don't know why, but they need to obviously get a catalyst to obviously accelerate their speed. Live says Arsenal is not panicking, only the fans are panicking. Dude, stop. I understand, but for any competent team, you'd love to have your players in the preseason, like 2 or 3 of your signings, you know, go with them to the US, play those 2 games, come back, play the 2 games at Emirates, and then integrate them into the team. And I would love to obviously also sympathize with the fans of Arsenal, because if Arsenal had gone ahead to sign at least 1 player, then you would have gone ahead to say that Arsenal is not panicking. But the fans really want a signing in. That is it. They badly want a signing in. You get? Then Bayan Al-Bashan, watching from Qatar, downtown. Thanks for the update. All right, thank you. Sulaiman, already I'm watching you live from Sierra Leone. I'm seriously sick. Please pray for me. All right. May the hand of Allah really touch you, and may it heal you in the mighty name of Allah. Right? I know you will get healed, and Allah will obviously see you getting okay. Mokosa sad, but Arsenal I can't describe this way. All right, the things are not really moving on well as planned, but all I know is that Arsenal will obviously try to get Riccardo Calafiori, and this wake-up call coming in from Juventus will obviously get Arsenal up and running. Now, there is a story that came in from The Athletic, and I'm directing it to Mr. Live, who thinks that Arsenal is not panicking. And there is someone who's going to hit to say that Arsenal doesn't have money, they need to sell players. That's really out. And The Athletic told us that Arsenal are now more than happy to ignore their 1-in, 1-out policy when it comes to signing players. For Riccardo Calafiori, their strategy is generally to get rid of players surplus to requirement and bring in higher caliber players. But in this instance, even without selling the likes of Kientieni, the club will still press ahead with the 50/42 million pound signing Riccardo Calafiori regardless. So they are telling us that Arsenal want to move on players that are really looking like surplus to requirement. Jakub Kivio, Kientieni, you get, and very many others. But even though they've not gone ahead to obviously move on these players, Arsenal can find themselves really signing Riccardo Calafiori. And if I told you it was that Arsenal were needing to obviously fast sell to buy, they would have already gone ahead to sell players, because they're having 4 players that you are quite sure are going to be leaving the side of Arsenal. Aaron Ramsdale, Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, and Emily Smith-Rowe. So that is it coming in from the club of Arsenal. I've gone ahead obviously digest everything as you guys want it to be. Kwame Abogje, Arsenal are in a mess. I think they're not in a mess, but they're trying to rectify out something. I'm Joseph from Palisa, but what is going on at the Arsenal transfer? I really don't know, but I believe they've been just complacent and reluctant because they had no competitor. Now that we are really having a competitor coming in through to obviously compete with Arsenal, maybe we might see Arsenal obviously coming in through to obviously do the needful, you understand? Then Kwame says, for 50 years as an Arsenal fan, it's been a disappointing transfer. Yeah, this one has been really disappointing, but never cross the bridge before you reach it. Before you get disappointed, Arsenal might come in through and start signing players like no other. You understand? So don't feel agitated. Just obviously find yourself in a better position of really respecting and really trusting the board of Arsenal. They will do the best that you people want them to do. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below about the Riccardo Calafiori transfer hijack plotted by the Italian side. Remember, we are powered by Mono Gadgets 256. You can as well find them on +256 70 99 88 665. They are dealers in new phones and laptops, and for all your used phones and laptops from the United Kingdom, they supply them to the fullest. So That is it. Coming in through from the side of Rokani David. I think you've gone ahead to get a third video, second live stream, and I know we are gonna be having another live stream 3 hours from now. We'll be here trying to obviously execute everything into the mix. Divine Lene, it is a Dunde, all right. Then Sesai Aradi, my opinion, Arsenal need to keep Emily Smith-Rowe for season and keep. There is no way you can keep Emily Smith-Rowe, I tell you, because he's not really doing the best. For the previous 2 seasons, he has been injury prone. He hasn't lived up to the expectations of the manager. So you have to obviously let him go and get in another player that can do the job. So why keep a player who really is injury prone and that cannot get into the team? You know, I've always told you that football is as good, every player is as good as his last minutes. And for now, every player is as good as his last season. Emily Smith-Rowe, the season of 2022-2023, he has been abysmal. Season of 2023-2024, he has been diabolical. Now, how do you come out and really say that they should keep him at the club of Arsenal? It's the same to everyone who thinks that Thomas Partey should be kept at the club of Arsenal. Why should Thomas Partey be kept at the club of Arsenal? Tell me. Why should Arsenal keep Thomas Partey? You know, he is a perennial injury-prone player, and you want to keep him at Arsenal. And when he gets injured, then you guys will be like, I wish they would have gone ahead to move him on. Move him on because you know exactly what he's going to get you. You understand? It's what he's going to get you. He's not going to be fit. Thomas Partey is not going to be fit. For the very many seasons has been here at Arsenal, he has been unfit always. Protegen, we need Arsenal to hurry up to these transfers. The Arsenal needs to obviously pull up their stockings and get everything done and dusted. Rokani, what's happening on Jokaris deal? Arsenal, as I told you in the morning, Arsenal have gone ahead. It was reportedly, hear me out, Arsenal reportedly prepared to trigger the release clause of Victor Jokaris. That's what we got in the morning, and we're waiting to see what more stories are gonna be coming about the linkage of Victor Jokaris to the side of Arsenal. So guys, for everyone who has been part of this channel, smash the like button, comment and share, and I want to see your reactions into the comment section below about everything. And we sign out for now. See you later. I love you, my mates, and see you in the next hours. But 1 or 2 hours from now, I'm gonna be recording a video, put it on the live section, sorry, in the video section, and then later we are gonna come up with the latest news and information concerning the latest Arsenal deals. You understand? Rokani David is my name. I sign out for now. See you later. The Muslims, Barakallahu Fikum, the Christians, we cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. I think you now like the way I'm really bringing you the updates onto your desk. Not so? It's a 5 finger up everyone watching in through.